Hello, my creeplings. Well, I got a first time watch for me here that I should have watched years ago. I don't know why I skipped it over when it came out. But today we're talking Wishmaster from 1997. Directed by Robert Kurtzman of K&B Effects. So you know when you've got a horror movie directed by a guy whose main purpose in life is to create effects for horror movies and they're like top of the line, you know you're in for a treat. So if you're an effects horror like I am, you love an effects heavy movie, this is for you. If you like playing Spot the Cameo, this is also one for you. This one's got a banger cast of a lot of cameos. And let's just get down to this, shall we? We're going to talk about the cast list first. Our starring role is a woman named Tammy Lauren. She plays a character named Alexandra. Now, I remember seeing her in a bunch of stuff from about the mid-90s to about the early 2000s. She didn't show up in a lot of stuff that I watched, but I am familiar with her. I just can't bring up specific examples right now off the top of my head. Pretty decent actress. She nailed this one. Very happy with this. We also have Andrew Divoff is the main antagonist. He's actually the only antagonist. He plays the Djinn, the Wishmaster himself, goes by when he's in human form, goes by the name of Nathaniel Demarest, Andrew Divoff himself. Now, I am a child of the 80s, so there was a point there in the late 80s through to the early 2000s where Andrew Divoff was very active. He almost always played the bad guy in anything I saw, and he is a delicious bad guy. This is no exception. I also always specifically remember him from the action-adventure film from the early 90s or late 80s called Toy Soldiers with Will Wheaton and Sean Astin. Good movie if you're into that kind of stuff. He plays a terrorist, and he's just, ooh. I think that might have been my first or second introduction to Andrew Divoff, and I've just been a Divoff fan ever since. We got a guy named Chris Lemmon playing Nick Merritt, one of Alexandra's friends and kind of co-workers, maybe colleague would be the better word. An actress named Wendy Benson as Shannon, Alexandra's sister. Sorry, I'm still looking here. Tony Crane is Josh, who I believe is her boss. Jenny O'Hara is Wendy Derleth, who is an expert that Alexandra contacts. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, but I can't pinpoint it. But her face is very distinctive. Rico Ross is a police lieutenant, and Gretchen Palmer as a small character named Ariel. But here's where we get into the fun part. Here's the cameos. We've got Robert Englund as a character named Raymond Beaumont. What can I say? It's Robert freaking Englund. We go into our narrator in the voiceover in the beginning is Mr. Angus Scrimm himself, the tall man from the Phantasm series. It's always a treat to hear his voice. George Buck Flower is as a homeless man. Now, I'm not super familiar with him, but I do remember him from a few things. Kane Hodder plays a guard. Tony Todd plays a doorman. Reggie Bannister from Phantasm plays a pharmacist. Joseph Pilato? Yeah, Pilato. I always pronounce his name wrong. Who's also done a lot of horror genre stuff, plays a crane operator named Torelli. We have Dennis Hayden as a security guard. Tom Savini is a bystander in the pharmacy. And of course, y'all gonna make fun of me, but this one showed up on my desk because Mr. Ted Raimi showed up in it as Ed Finney. Yeah, bring it on. I expect it. He's not in it very much, though. Again, cameo appearance. But, yeah, that's what brought this one back to my desk is Mr. Ted. So, but just going straight into the story, we open up in Persia, pre-Islam. So we're going back into the annals of time, where it just starts off with an effects fest. There is an evil, well, all Jinn are evil. Jinn, we call them genies, but Jinn is the proper term for the singular and the plural. is doing his mojo on a ruler of some sort, getting him to go through his wishes. Well, I think the ruler said, I would like my kingdom filled with wonder, so everyone in the kingdom is turning into snake men. There's one point where a guy's skeleton just gets up out of his skin. You start off with a bomb ass effects shot, and it's just holy F, you know? The genie's trying to get the ruler to go through his 3 wishes, because once that 3rd wish is granted, see if I can remember the line. I cannot, so I'll paraphrase it. The world between theirs and ours becomes there's no line there. So the genie can come over and take over. And again, Jinn are evil. They are, and they want to, rule over humans. Pretty simple, basic, but yeah, you get the whole point. But the wise man for the ruler had managed to trap, he managed to trap him in a stone, which they refer to as a fire opal, but it looks more like a ruby. And my rockhound tendencies just want to say that's not an opal, but I digress. The story gets lost to time. The fire opal gets lost to time. Turns out it's put into a statue. Let's see if I can pull up the name of the god. A statue of one of the pre-Islamic gods, Ahura Mazda. And again, it gets lost to time. So we jump now to the present day, the 1997. And we're on a dock. And Beaumont is there with his assistant, Ed Finney, where they're unloading a crate with this statue in it. Because that's what Beaumont does. He collects antiquities and things like that. So, there's an accident. One of the crane operators, the Torelli character, is drunk, and we get Dead Ted. Gets crushed by the crate. Dead Ted. So this starts a chain reaction of the statue's broken, one of the dock workers steals the fire opal, pawns it off, and then it makes its way to a high-end jeweler, an antiquities dealer, and this is where our Alexandra character comes in. She's our expert on gems. And she's checking it out, and she's like, oh my god, this is a perfect fire opal, and then she looks at it again, and there's like something. We're to jump to the conclusion that it's the essence of the jinn running around. So she sends it to her friend / kind of maybe wannabe romantic interest. And he's a scientist. I think he's a geologist. And he goes to run this thing through a mass spec, frees the genie, and the genie starts collecting souls from single wishes. First is the friend. Then he takes, there's a kid at the medical school, which is really cool because he kind of erases his eyes. That's a really cool effect. The bum, the cop, and he just fulfills one wish. And then later on, he can recall their souls for power. It's kind of interesting. He needs to find Alex to make her 3 wishes because she is technically the one that released him from the gem because she found it. She rubbed it, rubbed my lamp. Well, in this case, it was rub my gem. And he just proceeds to go through and just the folklore expert she contacts to find out more about this. And the thing about Alexandra is she almost kind of has a psychic link to this. When the jinn makes bad things happen, she kind of sees it. She sees her friend get killed. She sees the lieutenant when his soul is recalled, and she just sees all this stuff. Well, we get down to it where she ends up at Beaumont's party. It was originally supposed to be for unveiling the statue of Azura Mazda, but he just decided to have it as a cocktail reception anyway. And she starts making her wishes. And we get some interesting chase scenes, and we get a cameo by Howard Berger of K&B too. He plays one of the security guards. But yeah, we just have cool effects, statues come to life, people popping out of paintings, death left and right. She makes her final wish though. This goes to show you how smart this girl is and how she finally calms herself under pressure. She wishes that Torelli was not drunk at work 2 days ago. By cosmic law, Nathaniel Demarest, the djinn, has to grant this wish, but it also undoes everything he did. Finney doesn't die. The stone is not released. So, therefore, the djinn is not released. It's just this chain reaction basically erasing the past 2 days. So, it was actually really, really cool to watch. There's some humor there. Again, if you like playing Spot the Cameo, it's great. Robert Englund actually he's a little more than a cameo. He puts in a stellar performance. Again, I don't know why I'm so bad with her name. Tammy Lauren. She plays a smart cookie. She's a very capable woman. A lot better than some of your other final girls where they're all just basically running around screaming and tripping and got lucky. I did notice that was a trend at the time in horror movies, but yeah, she was a smart professional woman. Could stand on her own. So, but oh my god, the effects in this thing are great. The look of the djinn when he's not in a human form. Oh, that thing is equal parts cool, funky, and where did you come up with that? I can't even describe it. It's like demonic, gargoyle-like. There's so many design influences that worked together. It just, oh. And like I said, the beginning, there were so many different transformations and effects going on. The skeleton coming out of a living man's body, like his bones were trying to separate from the muscles and the sinew and oh my word. That was really neat. So yeah, just another example of how K&B, that's why they are at the top of their game. Not only do they have great artists and great, conceptual artists, but, I mean, these guys understand movies. I think they've all directed something. I know Greg Nicotero's directed a lot. Usually I can bring up Walking Dead episodes, but he's done stuff before that, too, if I remember correctly. I know he's done stuff since that Creepshow episodes. He's responsible for a lot of that new Creepshow revival. I think he directed, like, two or three episodes that I can think of off the top of my head, and they were all excellent. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance to watch something directed by Kurtzman or Nicotero especially, I don't know if Berger has, but if he has, it wouldn't surprise me. I highly, highly suggest this movie. I don't know why I slept on this for so damn long. That's my fault. That is so my fault. Because Andrew Divoff plays such a delicious villain, and this one you throw that supernatural, that magical aspect on top of it and let him go over the top. Just, dude, this is like one of my ultimate ideas of a popcorn movie. You're just sitting there numbing your popcorn or whatever movie snacks you have when you watch, and you just zone out and enjoy. That's what this is. It's a little gory. It's a very good story. It's acted the hell out of. Very attractive cast. I cannot say enough good things about it. I mean, seeing Tony Todd as a doorman, dressed up all nice and speaking with that voice, I was like, ooh. I'm like, they don't, let you dress up nice enough all the time. Don't get me wrong, I like my Candyman, and they used his voice to perfection there for that kind of hypnotic feel, but do it in a suit. Looks pretty Even Robert Englund was, really cleaned up and looked like a classy businessman. I'm like, huh, Freddy's kind of cute. Well, maybe not cute, but Freddy is Robert Englund was definitely, if he had walked by me on the street or in a restaurant or something, I hate to say it, because of those clothes, I would have given him a second look. I do suggest going out and watching this one. I may actually try to track down the sequels, as long as Andrew Divoff is still involved in them, or, the writing team. I'm going to have to look into those. They could be interesting. They could suck, too, because we all know how some of these, they start off really strong, and then they just start cranking out sequels, and, so yeah, Wishmaster from 1997, starring Andrew Divoff and Tammy Lauren. I know I always get her name wrong, so that's why I have to keep looking. Go watch this. Go rent this. I watched it free on Pluto TV, streaming. I think Tubi has it currently, and when I say currently, this is almost June of 2024. I know streamers drop things left and right, that's a discussion for another day, but I will put my 2 cents in, my shortened version of it right now. While I appreciate streamers for being able to get a mass library in your home, it kind of sucks when they just randomly drop shit. Or now, especially with things like Netflix, where it's almost all in-house made, and you want to go back and watch these older movies because, you're either doing a theme night, or you're like me and you're revisiting some things, or it's always been on your list of stuff to watch, and it's just you've never gotten around to it. Because we don't have video stores with physical media anymore, it's hard to get a hold of some of these things unless you have 15 different freaking streaming services. Which is why I am thankful for streaming services like Roku and Pluto TV and Tubi and, even YouTube to an extent. Because there are a lot of sites that will put up older movies that you can get a hold of. That's why I'm thankful for my local library. And I think that's why physical media is making a comeback. So that way you always have it. Or, people buying physical media and then making a digital copy. Because let's face it, there are ways to jailbreak that and do that. That way you've always got your copy on your computer. Because I know physical media collections take up quite a bit. This is only part of my collection. I've got stuff over here you can't see. I've got stuff in storage that I haven't gotten out. I've got piles of physical media everywhere. Simply because I want my stuff when I want it. So, I miss Blockbuster. I miss Hollywood Video. I miss the mom and pops especially. Because they could always get that weird off stuff because they knew the right distributor. So, I'm going to get off of the tangent on streaming. If you guys want to see a vlog on me talking about my physical media collection and, streaming and things like that, and talking about, downloaders and the future of, my opinion in the future of streaming and all that, give me a hell yeah, or a yeah, that sounds good down in the comments, because that is something I would really like to talk about. And you'll notice I know I go off on tangents when I do these. Again, these are not scripted. This is me just shooting off the hip. But I would love feedback on whether or not you want me to talk about that as like a bonus video or something like that. All just really depends on what y'all want. So, another side note, August is the month of my birthday, and I thought I would treat myself by binge watching a few things, and I think we're going to go weekly that month. And depending on if I can really start making videos ahead, I may attempt to go weekly near the end of the year. If that sounds fun to you, again, comments are great. If you have suggestions for films I haven't seen yet. Since newer media is one of those things that if it's in theaters, I'm probably not going to go see it. I just don't have the time. If it's relatively new media where I can get a hold of it easily, where I don't have to have 15 different streamers to watch 15 different movies, make a suggestion below. I do have a list of stuff that, people in my personal life have suggested that I am going through. So, and then we're going to visit one of my favorite series for my birthday. So, yeah. If you can guess correctly for what we're going through for my birthday, other than the few people at work I've talked to, see if you can guess the series. There's going to be 4 videos. It's not the entire series, but they're all tied together by the same character. 4 videos of a media series in the horror genre. So I hope it's a treat for you, because it's going to be fun for me. There's not going to be any holding back on my opinions and my thoughts on this particular media series. But I have prattled on long enough, and I have gotten off topic long enough. So, I'm just going to say it. Good night, my creeplings, and I'll see you next time. Bye.